Lauren, tell me about what you do.
So I help individuals struggling with unsolved health conditions really get to the root cause so they can feel good. A lot of the individuals I work with are wrestling with hormone imbalances and gut health issues, even autoimmune issues, and things that they've gone to their doctor for, but the doctor really has not been able to solve what that root cause is.
I don't fully understand gut health. Why is it so important?
So your gut is the gateway to health, and your gut microbiome actually contains over 40 trillion bacteria, so there's more bacteria than cells in your body. Actually, 7 pounds of you is your gut bacteria if you were to weigh them on a scale. The gut is also known as the largest endocrine organ in your body, and so when we're thinking about ED and the gut, there's a huge connection there, as well as it's connected to your brain. So your gut is often called your second brain. And there's actually more neurons in your gut than any other part of your peripheral nervous system.
Really?
The vagus nerve, the nerve that also governs your digestion and your frontal lobe, the way you think and process things, is directly connected from the top of your brain to the top of your gut. And so if you've ever experienced, say, the butterflies in your stomach experience before.
I know I have.
You've experienced what that brain-gut connection is. 1 in 2 people actually have a gut-related health condition, and the thing is that gut conditions aren't always felt in your gut. So if you think about gut conditions, what comes to mind?
Feeling uneasy in the stomach, having to spend too much time in the bathroom.
Exactly, things like bloating, constipation, gas, and heartburn. But actually things like hormone imbalances, diabetes, skin conditions, autoimmune conditions, all have a direct link to your gut. And there's actually been a 400% increase in the research alone dedicated to the gut microbiome the past 3 years, and just showing its links to a lot of the chronic health conditions and diseases we're seeing right now in our culture. 6 of the top 10 health conditions are mental health or behavioral health related, stemming back to the gut again.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Including ED.
Correct, including ED. What's going on in your gut and your gut bacteria are going to be directly related to your libido and your erections. Just because your gut bacteria are what are firing the cues and the signals for that to occur in a healthy way. So a healthy, thriving gut microbiome is going to produce a healthy, thriving hormonal connection, and with the ED being a byproduct of that as well.
So for someone who wants to focus on gut solutions for treating ED, what are some things that they can try?
There's a ton of things, and I have 5 gut love habits that I educate people on first. And so number 1 would be hydrating and drinking half your body weight in ounces of water per day. For instance, if a person weighs 200 pounds, that's about 100 ounces, or about 10 cups. Number 2 would be boosting your digestion, and so how do we do that? We talked some about food journaling before, but chewing your food really well, mindful eating along with that is a really great way to just start digesting better. Digestion begins in your mouth, and so breaking down your food, you want it to be fully liquefied before swallowing. Another way to boost digestion would be supporting stomach acid and enzyme production. So we need stomach acid and digestive enzymes to break down our food. They're like the Pac-Mans that chew your food. That's how enzymes work.
I love that visual.
But most people are pretty deficient in those things. You naturally have stomach acid in your stomach and then enzymes in your intestines when the food makes it there. But there's external supports you can get over the counter to support digestion that way, as well as something like apple cider vinegar, which this is a natural stomach acid booster. Mixing that with water, definitely dilute it in order to not be so acidic and strong, but that's great to drink with before or after a meal, as well just a tablespoon in water. Number 3 would be loving your gut bugs, and so this is where a really quality probiotic can be helpful. 90% of probiotics on the shelves do not contain the probiotics they claim, so I would not just recommend going to the store down the street to just get any probiotic. Doing some research on even the company, and a company that's really transparent in how they are producing their probiotics is typically more stealth than the companies that are just slapping that probiotic on the label. Probiotics are really fragile. That's the reason why 90% of them don't contain the probiotics they claim.
Because the stomach acid and bile kind of eats it before it even makes your way to your gut.
Exactly, or just like the manufacturing and the heating process of shipping it to the shelf. So you're really just swallowing a capsule in that scenario. Another great way and source of probiotics would be through fermented foods, and just a little dab will do you all day. These are the foods that maybe your great-grandmother ate. Things like sauerkraut, a little bit of kombucha. Kimchi, yes.
My favorite.
And yogurt, a really quality yogurt. So not just a fat-free yogurt. Actually, most fat-free yogurts on shelves do not contain probiotics because they had to get heated, highly heated, in order to become fat-free anyways. But something like a grass-fed, raw, organic yogurt is also a probiotic-rich food. Number 4 gut love habit would just be tasting the rainbow. So adding those 2 to 3 different colors at each meal and really trying to get as much variety in your diet as possible. It does not mean that every meal has to be a gourmet, something new recipe from the Instagram blogger that you follow, but picking like 2 to 3 rotating meals for your breakfast, lunches, and dinners, and eating those throughout the week can be a great way to just start to vary your diet. And then lastly, gut love habit number 5 would be just soothing your gut. And I like to think about this habit as really talking more about the stress conundrum of how stress impacts the gut microbiome. And so a great way to start soothing your gut or de-stressing your microbiome goes back to the circadian rhythm disruption. Candling down at night is a great first step, a bedtime routine.
Without blue light.
Yeah, exactly, without blue light. Trying to get rid of the screens 1 to 2 hours at least before bed. Or at the very least, using like a monitor on your screen that can calm the blue light down. Or orange tinted glasses is another great way to use screens at night.
What's the most optimal state for my gut to be in to achieve an erection?
Yeah, so not a dysbiotic gut or an imbalance of gut bacteria. How do we even know where our gut health is? I love to use the poo check to do that. And so your daily poo is your daily report card, and just if you're going normal or not. And do you know what normal is?
Yes.
So it would be 1 to 3 times a day and filling full elimination, and kind of like a sausage formed style poo, and we call it the golden poo, which would be like a C shape or an S shape. But that's a great way of like daily checking if you have normal bowel habits. Another indicator of gut health or how healthy my gut is like, again, if you're feeling bloated after meals or even having like heartburn and indigestion, that's a sign like your digestion's not on par. And then just noticing an increase in libido. I think when you start to adopt a healthier gut, like from the probiotic perspective, for instance, putting healthy guys in, that a lot of times people do experience a increase in their libido. Which brings up another issue is how antibiotics, which are rampantly used in our society, can greatly impact our gut microbiome, not just in the time that you're taking them, but for years and years after that. Antibiotics can be life-saving tools, and they have been life-saving tools, but what we're finding in the research with how they impact the gut microbiome is they completely sterilize the internal gut. And so
They kill the bad bacteria along with the good bacteria.
exactly. When we hear the word bacteria, a lot of people may think like, ooh, bacteria, gross. We actually need and want bacteria. We want a lot of good, healthy bacteria. So when we do take the antibiotics and those are eradicated as well, our immune defenses go down, our hormonal supply goes down.
Which can affect ED.
Exactly. The part 2 of the antibiotic protocol is usually just never talked about or given out from a practitioner. So meaning, how can we help you rebuild the gut after you've taken the antibiotics? And a lot of times, once a person's been on the antibiotics, we'll see them go on maybe again when flu season strikes, or several times within that same year because the immune system also goes down.
If you have to take antibiotics because it is life-saving, then you need to talk to your doctor about how to restore the healthy bacteria.
Exactly, and if the doctor is not fully aware of that, then that would be partnering with also a nutritionist or a functional medicine practitioner to also be an ally in your in your care.
And try and figure out how to not take the antibiotics. Because I feel like right now it's such an issue because of the fact that the littlest thing happens where it's not life-threatening and we're like, oh, antibiotics, it's
Exactly.
the cure.
That's the
It's like
go-to.
there's so many other cures that you can
Yeah.
talk to a nutritionist about.
Right, well, and even things that you can do at home for just the antibiotic, like conundrum, do I take this when I'm sick or not, is really focusing on your immune system in your gut. 80% of your immune system is produced in your gut. If you find that you continue to have immune system issue after immune system issue, that's a sign that something greater is going on in the gut.